Frank, when you have changes such as at general manager and a major player, Jalen Phillips, being traded, do you have to talk to your players about let's focus solely on Buffalo, or do you tell them this is the NFL, the big picture? How do you approach that?
I think most guys understand, and I think in the course of a week, you always want to have communication with your players, just not just only about club business, but just life, making sure that everyone's in the right mental place each week and just connecting because everyone has lives outside of the building that I think kind of falls into general conversation. So, yeah, I think most guys understand where it is. I mean, when I was in Oakland, we were on the practice field and they grabbed Amari Cooper and traded him to Dallas Cowboys. That required a little bit more conversation. So that was very unique. But other than that, I think most guys understand the nature and industry, and um, I think that's about it.
Staying with that theme, what are your early impressions of Champ Kelly working with him?
Yeah, so we worked together in Chicago. So high energy, great communicator, proactive, just a very wants a great teammate, wants to be a part of solving problems. So I have nothing but respect for him, and I really enjoyed my time working before and the opportunity to work with him again.
Did you sort of envision him even back then as a general manager type candidate?
Yeah, he's always kind of displayed an ability to communicate very well, bring up guys that he like. It's just a lot of the times it's just the communication, especially in season. Getting workouts in and getting to see different guys that are available, options of players that are out there. So, yeah, I've always thought very highly of Champ.
Are you optimistic that you'll have Julian Hill this week?
I mean, optimistic. Yes, I think optimistic for many guys, but yeah, we'll have to work through the full week to really know where we're at with Julian.
When you were in New Orleans, Teron Armstead kind of quickly became an obvious cornerstone piece for the franchise. Do you view Paul's potential similarly?
Actually, it's a good question because, like Teron, when he was a rookie, he didn't play for, I want to say, almost 2/3 of the season. And at the end of the season, played, and you could kind of see his potential. In the second year, it really built. And after I left, after the second year, you really got to see him take off in year 3. You saw a lot of signs in year 2, and then year 3 was really kind of where it kind of starts falling together. Because that's the hardest thing about the NFL is just the expectation for when things come. But a lot of times for linemen, it's like as they start figuring things out, year 2, 3 is really where you see it. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff to be very optimistic about Patrick. I hate comparing because like Tron's like a different athlete, different build, different movement skills. Where Pat has got size and length and a different range and skill set. Because I remember Teron out of college. I mean, they're running a down and around scheme, and he beat the running back to the end zone. He ran he ran like a 4.6 at the combine, where they're a little different. But yeah, you see the potential in Pat to be a very good left tackle in the NFL.
Run block is the area where he'll probably make the most progress in the coming years.
Yeah, I think it's in college football. It's like it's all spread out. It's there's differences, especially in the pro system when you're playing in the eye and everything's kind of packed in. You got to get used to tighter spaces, things moving quicker than necessarily in college, where it's all spread out and it's kind of things are expressed pretty clearly. So I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, my roommate at Miami was drafted in the 5th round, played guard for the 8 years, and the biggest thing I remember him saying was year 1 to 2 is getting used to a pro style offense where everything's kind of packed in. Because at Miami of Ohio, we were spread out with Ben, and I think ultimately that's the biggest thing for a lot of linemen is getting used to the space and where things are moving and stuff like that.
Last time against Buffalo, you guys really set an early tone, physicality, incorporated Ollie Gordon kind of for the first time truly in this offense. How big will that be establishing the run game against Buffalo?
I think ultimately for us, whether it's them or anyone, I think that's something that we're trying to do offensively is establish the line of scrimmage and then maintain a balance of being able to do both well. But yeah, I think ultimately when we're able to do both effectively, run and pass. I think that's where we're operating at our best and a good rhythm and tempo to the game.
Very good. A question about how you handle misfortune to younger players. Taj Washington, Malik Washington, and Ollie Gordon all had varying types of misfortune. Ollie with the bad call. Do you, now that you're on the sideline, do you talk to them in the moment about that? Do you talk to them during the week? How do you handle that in general in specific these cases?
You could definitely on the sideline, and then it's just, when adversity hits, it's how do you handle it? We all want life to be an interstate where it's just moving along smooth, but sometimes on the journey to where you want to go, you have to take the country road, which might be bumpy and have more turns, but both can get you there. It's just you have to stay the course and not realize that one moment doesn't define yourself. All right, that moment can be defining to where you want to go.
Frank, what kind of conversations do you have with Jalen Wright in light of the fact that he finally got carries against Atlanta, and then he was a healthy scratch against Baltimore, and then also in terms of keeping his head is in the right place, and also for him emphasizing the point of not trying to do too much on every carry if he thinks he has to make something happen every time to keep getting playing time?
Yeah, I think it's just basically like we're talking about all things. It's the communication you have with guys during the week. It's if you have inconsistent communication, that's where, they can get different thoughts, different assumptions. When you have the constant communication and him knowing that there are roster issues at play when we're trying to get certain guys up for maybe different roles, as long as there's a communication of that, they can understand, okay, I understand that element as part of the NFL. But ultimately, I think it's just the challenge for everyone is just to stay present in the moment, to stay focused on getting yourself better. And when you do that, the things that you can't control of who has to get up for the roster that day, all right, how many opportunities you get, those things kind of are able to be compartmentalized a little bit better. And I think it's simple, not easy. And I think that's where the communication, you have to make sure you're talking with your guys regularly.
As a quick follow-up, if I may, so how big of a concern is that if he gets back in the lineup and gets carries against the Bills, subconsciously he's trying to make more happen on every single carry than may be possible to keep his snap count?
I wouldn't say that's a concern because he hasn't really expressed any of that, and he understands the situation of why it's been having to be up and down.
Coach, with Greg Dulcich, he had 5 for 50 in the game on Thursday, and just looks to me like a guy that knows how to get open. I'm curious, you watch him every day in practice, obviously, but that was his first significant run in a game. Did you learn more about him in that game, what you knew previously, and if so, what was that?
I think it kind of validated some of the things you saw on tape of his ability in the passing game and what he can do with his versatility. But when you see him on the practice field, it's like he's a diligent worker, very good communicator. So it was great for the world to kind of see how he can fit and how he can help us.
You mentioned when looking at what's given him success in past seasons, he said he's missing that same conviction element. I guess, in your opinion, how can he fix that?
I think it's basically when it's easy to take in a game and then create, a timeline of what it could be or what it is, all these things where it's like when you're trying to get guys to focus in on that conviction, it's basically, it's bringing them back to the moment, just remembering it's not bigger than what it is right now. Right now is the most important thing. It's like you can't let results from the past dictate to what you would anticipate or anyone can anticipate for the future. All you can control is right now. So let's make sure that right now is at the level that our expectations for what we want to play. And I think it's excuse me. I think it's ultimately like drying up. I think it's ultimately like the same thing with all players. It's like, how do you get in your rhythm? How do you stay in your rhythm? What takes you out of your rhythm? And then it's that learning process and then being able to reset and then move forward.
Last question. How will the potential return of Julian Hill affect the usage of the 6 lineman packages?
I don't know if it necessarily is going to affect anything. I think it's, for us, maybe it's ways to build upon certain things and do different things that maybe we haven't done before. So I think it ultimately is when you see certain things, it's like, okay, now how can we build or create more versatility using it?